Well, we find ourselves today at Seminole Canyon in Texas, and we are on a guided hike through the petroglyphs, and we're up underneath a rock ledge over the canyon there. You can see the canyon on the right. And after I left Seminole Canyon, I realized I had no good opening for this video, so we're going to do a quick little voiceover here for the first minute or so, and then we'll get into the bulk of the video. Like I said, the guided hike was $8. You had to register, but it's not too strenuous. But you do get to see a bunch of petroglyphs, like that little one there on the left in ochre red. This is up underneath the rock ledge where the indigenous people lived. So a lot of interesting things and a lot of petroglyphs, and the guided tour is definitely the way to do it. In fact, you can't really get up underneath these rock ledges without the guided tour. So show you a little bit of video clips and some still shots, and then we'll get into the bulk of the video. So sit back and enjoy the backing music as for the clips here.
Rock spall right here is Pecos River style rock arts, possibly as old as 4,200 years old. Yeah, one of the first questions people ask, even if we think the floor was here when they were painting, right? It makes sense for the floor to be here for lower Pecos stuff. It makes sense that the floor might have been here when Flimfield and Maynard were painting. Even if it was right here, how did they get up here? And so yes, there is examples of single pole ladders being painted in the art itself, and so single pole ladders they could have gotten from branches, probably from affixing those long sotol blooms or yucca blooms together, since they were also rope makers. Probably a lot like Mesa Verde, they would use it for scaffolding, and then they would break down that scaffolding and use it for firewood. This was once called the triad because they could really see three main images, the one to our left on that wing, the one to our right on this wing, and the one in the center. Since then, since digital imaging and since Kirkland has painted it for us, we know that there's a figure behind that left wing there. And digital imaging actually brings out another figure behind this right shoulder, with the headdress right there above that shoulder, and the shamanistic figure with the wings and the antlers facing forward. And so we think if this is depicting some type of ceremonial or ritual practice, the geography of the cave itself, this little alcove, lends itself to doing what is depicted on the wall in front of the wall. And so is this perhaps another one of those places where they interacted with this panel? We also know that they used how the light plays onto the wall and how they constructed several things, White Shaman being one of them, how the sun comes into the shelter for the headless White Shaman. But here, if you're here in the morning and the sun is in the east, how it is blocked by the top of the shelter is actually this line right here, where their feet are standing. So if you think about the time it took, if they traced it, if they composed it, if they're applying this paint in a very specific order, even the application and stuff the paint is made out of is part of the ritualistic symbolism. And they had about 2 minutes a day if they're going off of the sunlight right there. So we think weeks and weeks at least was how long it took to do something like this. Not to mention the gathering of resources.
Well, that just completed the tour. Well worth the $8. We were up there in that crevice. Now, down on the bottom of the canyon here at Seminole Canyon State Park. Very cool. Saw a lot of good rock art. Beautiful day here, mid-February. Gonna get up to 80. I think I'll head back to the van. Need to make some lunch. This is a bit treacherous. It's really kind of interesting down here at the bottom of the canyon. I thought it would be cooler. It's not. It's hotter because all the limestone walls and floor of the valley radiate the heat back and forth like a natural oven. It's probably 75 degrees up on the top, but down here it's in the low 80s. It is pretty in an interesting sort of way. The water is not left over from rain, but seepage. This canyon, apparently, is not completely created by erosion, but also, well, erosion, yes, but wind erosion as much as water. Up on top, that's the park headquarters. Well, we can take a, I was going to say quick tour, but probably more like a long tour of the Seminole Canyon Park. This is the headquarters right here. You pick up your camping pass, and I just picked up a magnet and just finished my $8 tour down into the canyon, which was definitely worth doing. I'm glad I did that. Now we're going to take about a mile drive back to the camping places. So, it's up on that next hill over there. I will not bore you, and I will go into fast forward mode. Seminole Canyon has two different camping areas. This is the first, the primitive camping area. This is Roadrunner Flat. Does not look to be all that, well, everything's reserved. Everything is pretty much reserved almost, I think you gotta go 6 months in advance. Well, there's a couple available ones, look at that. But this is the primitive area, no hookups. The hookup area that I'm in at the top of the hill to our right is, there are no openings. It pretty much fills up 6 months in advance. But I thought I'd drive through both of these and give you the grand tour as it was. Pretty country. Some pretty spectacular views. That's pretty much the entire loop of the Roadrunner Flat, the primitive camping loop here. It's just in and out. They're all pull through. Picnic table, fire pit, no fires. Pretty sure they are not allowing any fires. The winds are pretty high out here, and you are on top of a hill, so even though there are fire pits, not thinking they're allowing it. There's a trailhead right here. Get some parking in the garbage. Let's go up the hill and take a tour through the main camping area with the full hookups. Desert Vista camping area. There's two loops. I'll drive through both of them so you can see. Water and power. There is a dump station halfway through. You can reserve these 6 months in advance, and as you can see, they are all reserved. They each come with a fire pit, picnic table shade, and a more or less level paved parking spot. There's bathrooms and showers right in the middle, right here, with a dump on the right. Took a shower yesterday, and they were really nice. Clean, hot water. 2 showers in the guys' bathroom. I'm sure the girls are the same. You are up on top of a hill. And the wind was blowing yesterday, and it's supposed to blow again pretty hard tonight. It's 80 today. Tomorrow's low is 35. You heard that right. So I'm expecting some high winds. We just got one little cold front coming through. It's just going to be cold for one day, or actually one night, and then go back up into the 70s. That is pretty much the extent of the 2 loops here that make up Desert Vista camping area. here at Seminole Canyon. Back here to the bathrooms on the right, dump on the left. Camp host right here on the right, number 7. And then that's my spot right in front of us, number 5 on the right. You can see they have a pretty good view. Alright, let's back this thing in.